is Movietone. Leslie Mitchell reporting. The American 8th Air Force has been steadily contributing to the Allies' round-the-clock air offensive, particularly with its heavily armed flying fortresses. One of the most successful of their recent raids was aimed at German U-boat production, as so many of our attacks are, and this film record of the raid was made by their official cameraman. Several attacks have been made on Wilhelmshaven, and here, taken as a matter of fact by a newsreel man, is an interesting shot of that great German port as American forts flew over it. But the raid we are reporting was further inland to the southwest on the U-boat building yards at Wegesack, a town not far from Bremen. And here we are, on the spot. The first bombers have been over, and the target's already partially obscured by the fires they've started. If you watch the center of the screen very closely, you can see more bombs going down into the clouds of smoke. Hits were scored on a power plant, submarines under construction, and at least one U-boat in the water. Heavy opposition was encountered, but the Americans claimed 52 enemy aircraft destroyed in the course of the operation, and they only lost 2 planes in what was a very shrewd blow. Certainly the boys seemed pleased with the job, as well they might be.
What effect do you think the weather had on your bombing?
Well, for one thing, we could see the target clearly. We came in from the IP and we could observe the target a long time before we got to it.
That's right.
Instead of having to hunt around for it and mill around over enemy territory, we could come right in on it.
On a later occasion, the 8th Air Force selected the marshalling yards at Rouen for their target. Pretty tough types, these crews. One of Movietone's cameramen, Jack Ramsden, went with them. That's him just before going aboard, fixing his camera on the specially prepared door and fitting an electrical heating device to prevent it freezing up at the extremely high altitudes from which the fortresses operate. Jack assures me that at 25,000 feet or more, thought itself is apt to freeze. And he now knows by practical experience a little of what the RAF and the Americans have to cope with in the process of handing it out to the Boche. Neither flak nor fighters prevent the bombing force from flying straight to their target in broad daylight. Incidentally, only a few hours after Germany had been left smarting from the RAF night attack on Berlin. This time we'll see the bombs bursting thousands of feet down there on Rouen's vital railway yards. This was the Americans' 6th daylight attack on this important center in occupied France. Damage to a bridge, to oil dumps, and to the railway yards was the principal result, and when the bombs had been dropped, the forts had to fight their way back, of course. As he took this shot, Jack says, an attack by enemy fighters was being made from astern, and the fortress's guns were fairly blazing away. One bomber and 4 escorting fighters were lost. The bomber can be seen on fire down there in the sea as the aircraft crossed the French coast on their way home. Over England again, and not long before the landings. Jack scrambles out, thankful that his aircraft's come out of the show so well. All the same, a cigarette just about meets the case. But not all the landings were so happy, and not all came back without casualties. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wounded are carried out, and the secret bomb site is taken away, heavily guarded. The 8th Air Force has been doing a fine job, and already has many highly successful raids to its credit. It is not yet as powerful a force numerically as we or the Americans themselves hope it may soon become, but it's on the job all right, and hitting hard.